Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Here to talk a little Packers this afternoon as we're getting cranked up here. We're going to be going live later on tonight, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, to break down all of the PFF grades from the final Packers preseason game. Today, what we've got here on this little mini episode is we're going to talk a little Matthew Golden. We're going to talk a little Tyron Hopper. You know, many people are having a conversation about who's going to make the 53-man roster. Both of those guys obviously safe on making the 53. I'm going to take it a step further and go, these are going to be two key contributors to the Packers this season. We'll talk about why we feel that way. But before we do, if you would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning in to PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your afternoon. Listen, we're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you, breaking down the tape, talking football, pregame shows, post-game shows, in-depth analysis, the whole 9 yards. So if you're looking for daily Packers content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, click that bell icon so you're notified every time we do go live. Hopefully the mic holds up, guys. We got another one on the way. Wife's ready to kill me, but we got a good one on the way, so hopefully that'll all pan out. I see the chat filling in. Thank y'all so much. Just a quick little episode. Appreciate y'all jumping in here. For sure. So let's talk a little Matthew Golden, man. As the PFF grades dropped, obviously, put a tweet out, said Matthew Golden wraps up his first preseason of his NFL career with a 72.7 PFF grade on 28 snaps. Again, 28 snaps, small sample size. The reason I'm so excited about Matthew Golden, it's not just the PFF grades from the preseason games. It's what he did in joint practice. It's what he did in training camp. Starting all the way back to OTAs, we go back to Jordan Love's initial comments on Matthew Golden. What did he say? He looks very polished. He's a good route runner. He's got strong hands, right? Everybody was praising him right out of the gate. You hear that early on in the OTA practice or OTA, set up the OTA season, if you will, and you kind of take it with a grain of salt, right? But then as you get into training camp, you're hearing every day he's showing signs of being a dominant receiver every single day. And then you get into the joint practices. He dominated the Colts in joint practice. He dominated the Seahawks in joint practice, on and on, right? And then, of course, the preseason games. First preseason game, just, one drive, I believe it was. Looked polished, though, looked good. Slant route, caught it. You see the strong hands, everything's still on display. He's a player that excelled in the most stressful situations in college at Texas, both at the SEC championship and into the playoffs there, right? So he's a guy that seems to be ascending as he's entered the league. And then, of course, you have the game here against the Seahawks where he comes out and grades really well, right? I think, what did he finish with yesterday? 74.6. So preseason week 1, 65.6. You guys know I always say if you're grading out in the 60s or higher, or 60 or higher as a rookie, really good sign, good indicator it's going to be a good professional football player, right? Well, he far exceeded that yesterday. 74.6 grade on 16 snaps. You guys seen the play, the deep shot pass here from Malik Willis to him. He's got it all, guys. He seems to have it all. He's got the speed. He's got the late hands, right? He's got the footwork, the smooth transition. The most important thing, in my opinion, is the balance, the body control, right? He just never seems to panic when the ball is thrown his way. And you'll see here, this is kind of if the DB gets his head around in time, that's an interception, right? But the problem is Golden recognizes, hey, look, this guy's stride for stride with me here because, first of all, the DB was respecting Matthew Golden's speed right out of the gate, right? And you could kind of see that on the next-gen stats version where we get the GPS tracker showing the DB playing like 7 to 8 yards off of Matthew Golden and knowing, hey, this guy's got burner speed, right? So you see Matthew Golden, he doesn't panic. He just quickly adjusts, cuts back inside, makes a contested catch, holds on to it, protects it from hitting the ground. He seems like one of, if not the most polished receivers that we've had come through Green Bay in a very, very long time in terms of a rookie coming into the league and playing that well. So really excited to see what Matthew Golden can do. Why are we talking about this? Obviously, he's going to make the 53-man roster, right? Because I think this dude, I think he's got a shot to be a 1,000-yard receiver if he stays healthy. And, I don't like to put specific statistics on players because you guys know I'm an X's and O's person. I'm more scheme than player oriented. And what I mean by that is don't try to force the ball to a receiver. Let's dissect what the defense is showing us pre-snap. Let's make sure our reads are proper, the side adjustments are there post-snap, and let's get the ball to the open receiver and someone, specifically that maybe could create some yak underneath as well, right? Now, if the shot plays there, you take it. That's how I look at football. However, with Matthew Golden, you're looking at someone you're probably going to look to kind of design the offense around a little bit. And I understand there's probably some people that are saying, Clayton, you're getting way ahead of yourself here. I can respect that opinion. Maybe I am. But again, I just don't remember seeing a receiver this polished. And when Jordan said it, of course, he's going to support his guy, right? He wants him to be polished, right? No, he knew what he was talking about, man. This seems like Matthew Golden is the real deal. So what you want to do is don't necessarily build the entire game plan around Matthew Golden, right? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is what you want to do is maybe take 30% of the game plan and go, hey, look, this play here, 90% of the time, the ball goes to the Z. Let's make sure Golden's in the Z on that play. This play here, 90% of the time, the ball is going to go to the number 2 in a slot left look where we're going to set up a bubble or a smoke, which, by the way, one of the runs that Emmanuel Wilson had yesterday, a solid run too, it was like 6 or 7 yard run. They had an RPO tagged on the backside with a smoke screen, and they had a +1 hat count with Romeo Doubs as the lead blocker. So they literally had a play design where Matthew Golden motions over, right? Pre-snap motion, fake the quick take that they do on the jet sweeps, and then he sets up in a stack look, and they got the hat count. Really wish Malik would have fired that thing out there. Golden probably would have took it to the house because the safety was kind of creeping to the opposite side of the field in that specific look. So if you see that, and if they're showing it in preseason, it means they're looking at designing stuff for him in those specific scenarios, which I really, really like. Get about 30% of the offense to kind of run through Matthew Golden. And then when defenses start to key in on him, or listen, this is a possibility, or he comes out of the gate and doesn't play as well as he did in preseason, you can always taper it back and get back to what you do initially. But looking forward to seeing a lot of Matthew Golden in Matt LaFleur's offense here early on. Coach Lynn in the chat says Golden is just scratching the surface of what he can be. His college career is a perfect example of this. Completely agree, Coach. That's why we're looking for players that are ascending, right, as they enter the league. Joseph in the chat says, love his adjustment to the ball. That's one of his strengths, man, and you've seen it. Most of the time you've seen it in sideline catches in Texas, but, man, he's obviously adjusting and breaking on the ball on the inside too there on that go route. I just love how he recognizes. Again, the main thing is how he recognized that the DB was kind of stride for stride with him because he was already, got that 8-yard head start. And Golden's just like, okay, either this ball is going to be overthrown out of bounds or I need to be ready to make an adjustment. Gets the head back. The way that he locks onto the ball, so easy as well. That's another thing that sticks out with me about Matthew Golden. And I know that sounds silly, but anyone who's played the game, first of all, you got a helmet on, right? Your vision is somewhat restricted anyway. As you're running, that head is jarring the whole way, right? It doesn't seem to bother him at all. He just seems smooth. The head is locked in, able to, on the fly, full sprint, look back, locate the ball. It's just something we haven't seen in Green Bay in a little bit. And we've got good receivers, don't get me wrong. But he just looks different. He looks a little different. Let's move on to the next player I wanted to talk about here real quick before we wrap up, and that's Tyron Hopper. Obviously, Tyron Hopper being a third-round pick, he's going to make the roster. There's no two ways about that. Like I said in this tweet, Tyron Hopper finishes the preseason. Listen to this number, guys. He finishes the 3-week preseason with a 90.1 PFF grade on 95 snaps. He just about eclipsed 100 snaps and had a PFF grade of 90.1 throughout the entire preseason, right? I said this coaching staff needs to give him the week 1 nod over Isaiah McDuffie in the base 4-3 defense. Now, listen, I'm not saying he should start over Quay. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm simply saying when we're in our base 4-3 defense, I want to see Tyron Hopper out there, much like I want to see Matthew Golden on the field as a starter. Don't give me none of this. Well, he's a rookie. He's not ready, blah, blah, blah. Get those guys on the field as soon as possible. They seem like playmakers, right? Tyron Hopper seems to have cut the corner. You see last year in the preseason a 50.4. This year a 90.1. And what I'm saying is start him over Isaiah McDuffie in the base 4-3. Get him out there. And you know what? If you look back in 5 or 6 weeks and damn, Tyron Hopper's a dog. He's a dude. He's a guy that deserves more snaps. Then you can have the conversation about maybe playing him into a little bit of Quay Walker snaps. Although Quay looked good yesterday as well, very, very minimal snaps. But Tyron Hopper, man, the stage is kind of set for Goody to be a little more aggressive with Quay from a sense of not being aggressive of, hey, let's give him as much money as he wants or a little more money than we want to re-sign him. Although I think they do want to re-sign Quay. I think it allows Goody to go, hey, here's our best offer, knowing that Quay could probably get more on the market. And as you go through the season, if Quay takes that next step, then you up that offer and you make it worth his while to stay in Green Bay, right? However, if you get to the point halfway through the season, Quay is continuing to play the way he has in the past, and Tyron Hopper's flashing in your base 4-3 or any other type of run-heavy looks that you may have, in terms of defense matching up with run-heavy looks, then maybe you start to bleed him into that nickel 4-2-5 a little bit, see if he could take on that role as well. I'm not to the point where I think he can play alongside Edgerrin Cooper in the nickel 4-2-5 over Quay. I'm not there yet. I'm just simply saying he better be on the freaking field over top of Isaiah McDuffie on the depth chart, because he's shown enough to do that, right? He's shown enough. Like Jen Wright says here in the chat, Hopper earning more reps. That's the best way you can put it, Jen. He has earned the reps. We may get in 2-3 weeks in the season and go, nah, McDuffie's better equipped. That was just preseason flashes. Nobody's rolling that out. But you get him out there and he takes that next step. Imagine the money you could save if he does evolve into that stack backer role alongside Edgerrin Cooper in the nickel 4-2-5, that now you've got him on a rookie contract for the next 2 years. You don't have to pay Quay $8 to $13 million per, whatever the number might be on his, on his market. But there's still a chance you could get Quay in here at, $7 or $8 million per. Okay. And you've got him and you've still got Tyron Hopper, and boy, oh boy, did this linebacker room get deep all of a sudden, So it's just something to kind of keep our eye on. I'm really excited to see how they continue to progress here. As Doc Holliday, Wisconsin says, Hopper looking much better this year. It just seems like the game is finally just kind of popped out to him for sure. Joseph says, I think we 100% re-sign Quay. My money would be on re-signing Quay as opposed to just letting him walk. But if Hopper flashes, and let's say Quay, as we always say, Joseph, it's all about the money, right? How much money are we talking? I want every Green Bay Packer back on the roster for the right price, right? But if Quay's asking for, I don't know, closer to $15 million per year, right? That's getting, that's crazy to me. We haven't seen that level of play from him. He's got the athletic ability, he's got the upside, he's got all the traits you want, but just still haven't seen that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Drew D. Clayton is a lover, not a hater. There you go, buddy. That pretty much sums it up. Joseph, one more here. Joseph says, King's game yesterday has me feeling way more optimistic about our DB room. Yeah, Kalen King looks like he's taking a step as well. But we're going to break down all the PFF grades tonight at 6:30 p.m. Central Time for PTA Live. We'll go through all the offensive PFF grades, the defensive PFF grades. We'll touch on special teams too, as we also know that that's going to play a big role in how this 53-man roster shakes out. As we're coming up on cutdowns, we're just 2 days away. It's going to be Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Lambeau time, God's time, as you all say there in the Wisconsin area. We'll see how this roster is going to shake out. So we'll have an extensive conversation tonight about those grades. Where do people finish the preseason overall grade? And then we'll start talking about how this 53-man roster may round out. But appreciate everybody hopping in here with me. If y'all would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit that like, hit subscribe. If you're new here, thank you for dropping in. We'll be back live tonight at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. So make sure you click that bell icon so you're notified when we do go live. My name's Clayton. We'll talk to y'all tonight.
Here we go.
Bye, guys.